In front of you, you can see a summary of the tenses in direct speech and the tenses that these are converted to in indirect speech. So, for example, a sentence in the present simple will be moved into past simple in the direct speech. So direct speech could be, I walk the dog every Friday, and indirect speech would be, he said he walked the dog every Friday. If we take another example, we can look at the past continuous in direct speech. For example, I was playing football. And then in indirect speech, this is moved to the past perfect continuous, and it would be, he said he had been playing football. If we look further down, we can see some examples with the future tense. So we'll take the future with will. I'll do the washing up. And the indirect speech, he said he would do the washing up. What about the future with going to? I'm going to watch television tonight. And in indirect speech, he said he was going to watch television tonight. We can also report the modal verbs in indirect speech. Many modal verbs stay the same, but some change. For example, can normally becomes could. I can pick George up from the airport. And in indirect speech, he said he could pick George up from the airport. Must normally becomes had to in indirect speech. The doctor said I must take it easy for a few days, for example, or the doctor said I had to take it easy for a few days. May normally becomes might. I may go out tonight. He said he might go out tonight. And should and ought to normally remain the same. So, here we have some more examples for each of the tenses. So you can pause the video and revise this rule. So remember, each time in indirect speech, the tense is set back one position. Rob plays cricket. He said Rob played cricket. John is watching TV. He said John was watching TV. And so on. So, now time for a little test. In front of you, you have a number of different sentences. And all you have to do is pause the video and decide on the correct form for the indirect speech. So pause the video, take some time, and then we'll move on to the next slide. So, are you ready? Here we go. So number 1, Ronnie won the game. He said Ronnie had won the game, from past simple to past perfect simple. Bob isn't very friendly. He said Bob wasn't very friendly. Present simple to past simple. Susie has eaten already. He said Susie had already eaten. So this one, present perfect to past perfect simple. Jeff had an operation. He said Jeff had an operation. So past simple to past perfect. Laura is going to work. He said Laura was going to work. So present continuous to past continuous. Andy will go with you. He said Andy would go with me. So here we have the future with will, and then would is used in the indirect speech. Joe can run really fast. He said Joe could run really fast. Can to could. I may go out this evening. He said he might go out this evening. May to might. I'm going to skip the lesson. He he was going to skip the lesson. So future with going to the was going to in the reported or indirect speech. And finally, I hate prawns. Very true. He said he hated prawns. Present simple to past simple.